I'm glad to be joined in Beijing, Guy Keke, professor at the School of Cyberspace and Science and Technology with Beijing Institute of Technology. In London, Wu Jun, associate professor from the Institute of Law at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Last but not least, in Beijing, once again, Andy Mock, research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. The topic is very exciting, that China bans certain use of facial recognition technologies in public spaces, especially coming from the private sector. Tell us more about your response to the latest, Professor Wu.
As this regulation or its departmental measures is quite in time, I should say, because especially after the first case emerged in 2019, and since then, the facial data protection has been an issue for the courts. But at that time, a lot of experts were saying that the administration measures should be put in place to protect the individual rights, because when individual rights were infringed, when the facial data was collected and processed, maybe this individual has no enough insensitive to defend his or her right. So at this time, maybe ex ante or beforehand mechanism should be installed to effectively protect individual rights when you employ the so-called facial facial data collection technologies.
Well, first of all, I think there are some other technology to replace the current solutions that's are based on the facial recognition. From the perspective of the technology, I would like to say we got a lot of other options. For example, like non-biometric technology that we can use for applications. We can use like some hardware-based solutions. For example, like physical credential solutions is one of the options, such as an NFC, RFID, or SIM cards. In addition, like our country is promoting the next generation of ID cards. So this technology can be used to replace the current solutions based on facial recognition. So this is one of the reasons that I want to highlight.
Having said that, though, Professor Wu, we see China has been a leading player in terms of facial recognition technologies worldwide, and new technologies has been spurning from there. So will China be able to implement this despite of the tremendous potential of commercial interests?
At this time, if China wants to have a mature and dynamic market for this facial recognition technology to prosper, then he must care about the very important market entity, that means consumer or individual, what his or her feeling about this technology. If he or she was insecure about this technology cannot say is successful in the market. So at this time, I think China put out this measure and say we will implement it. It just have a strong signal to the market that we want mature and dynamic market while safeguarding the individual, especially consumers' rights.
We understand that, Mr. Guy, there is this specific regulation is mainly targeting at businesses that are collecting Face ID from its customers in one way or another. But how to make sure that these businesses will be monitored in order to have the latest regulation being implemented? Will they depend mainly on the customers' complaints, or there are mechanisms and technologies that can make sure that this can be implemented?
We need to help users to clearly understand the purpose of their biometric information and agree to it in the form of an electronic contract. From a data perspective, we need to effectively govern the entire life cycle of data management. So this is very important. This includes a series of activities such as like data collection, transmission, storage, usage, and destruction. For example, during the data collection process, it is necessary to decide like whether it needs to be like stored remotely or locally to reduce the possibility of data leakage. A proper encryption technology probably is needed or is need to be selected for data protection during the transmission.
Professor Wu, uh, this once again is mainly targeting at businesses, but what about the public sector? What about the state sector? How the consumers and the public here in China can make sure that their facial ID, once being given, through the system, will be used only with their consent?
First, from the measures, you can see the a regulated department is quite concerned about the purpose. The data should be collected minimum for limited purpose. That makes the data you provided to the business is quite limited, and this will reduce the occurs infringement. Secondly, the regulatory authority wanted to install a kind of registration system. With this system, and the business activities could be fully monitored by the regulatory agencies in the provisional level, as you can read from the measures. And from this means they also installed a kind of whistleblower system, which is quite inconvenient, especially in the laws regarding the individual rights protection. I think maybe that's the first step. Maybe they have to see the further interaction with the court system and to see what the final result turns out. I think this department measure need to be tested in reality, and maybe it need to implement in the future.
There is an issue of efficiency as well, isn't it, Professor Wu? One of the arguments of businesses trying to collect the facial ID of their customers is, well, the customers can have access to the service as frequently as they want and wherever they are. Now, with other means, would there be the convenience and the efficiency earlier guaranteed by Face ID, the use of Face ID?
If we provide more data, we are more convenient. But some people who care about the privacy may have the different ideas. So some kind balance must be reached. In the matter the balance that if the purpose can only be achieved efficiently and legally by the facial recognition technology, maybe you can apply it. But if this purpose can also reached by the alternative technologies, alternative means, you must provide the backup to those who care about privacy. He can refuse a facial recognition means, but he can use the other less infringed technologies to enjoy the service provided by business. I think this is a lasting concerns for the public. The law or the enforcement agency must keep balance.
Mr. Mark, what do you make of this, the balance between the so-called efficiency and also convenience?
Here's something that's very interesting because this is digital. The government's ability to track compliance could actually be built in and essentially be cost-free to the business. And one of the principles here, my understanding of this regulation, is to build privacy in by design. Don't try to patch a problem later. So by doing this, and that if you build in compliance reporting as well, this then becomes much less expensive bureaucratically for businesses, and it's a win for consumers as well.
Professor Wu, are you seeing good practices elsewhere in the world that can make a well balance between the two, as we say, respect of individual privacy rights, and also be able to encourage continuous innovation and application of innovations?
This area is unknown waters. Every jurisdiction tries best to preserve the privacy while developing the new technology and the new economy. At this time, I think China make a good job from the measures published, because on one hand, he wanted to offer administrative remedies to the individual to intensify the care about privacy of the individual when the facial recognition technology was deployed. On the other hand, this measure also provides some space for the business development or the technology development. Article 2 said when the laboratory development technology can be exempted from the measures because it's not be deployed. But all in all, this kind of laboratory development of a facial recognition technology or the AI training using facial data should be exempted, while it should at the same time obey the general personal information protection regime installed by China in 2021. So I think it's quite good balance. And I think this kind of efforts should be acknowledged and encouraged.
So how to bring more people onto the same page and reach stronger consensus when it comes to how technologies will be used? Your thoughts on that with the latest regulation coming out, Professor Wu?
At any time, there is silent majority. This majority is not there. They're not feeling it. They're just shy to express their rights and their views. But they are good fellows. If there is a good system, well, it was established, pushed by some quite active right defenders regarding the facial recognition technology. They will follow it and they will help to make this system steady. I think that it's a task of state to acknowledge this good interaction between the forerunner and the silent majority to safeguard equally everyone of the public. So that the market and the technology purpose with a decent individual right safeguarding system. I think that's an ideal balance to be achieved by any state or any jurisdiction. That's my view.
Mr. Guy?
Well, I think it's important to help most people understand the common sense in this field. First of all, like facing like different application scenarios that require technologies may be diverse. So this involves like whether that sampling can have like a better distribution performance in the data usage. We need to do like a necessary technical processing for some operations. Such as like data labeling. So this like common sense we need help public to understand some like basic concepts about the technology, about like privacy protection. So overall, I think this involves like integration and application of multiple technologies, and it's necessary to make a detailed indicator requirements and form solutions for specific application scenarios. And make the knowledge available to the public.
Mr. Mok.
I would echo that point in that every disruptive technology, whether that's steam power, electricity, telephones, brings disruptive social change that offers both opportunities and challenges. So facial recognition technology, again, which is a subset of artificial intelligence, as we're seeing today, is posing opportunities and challenges as well. So I think that one, sound laws effectively implemented are important. And I think China has demonstrated a long history of success with this. But at the same time, an educated citizenry. So people that not only understand the law, but ideally why it's important, I think will be very, very effective because, of course, that makes enforcement better. I think it also just raises the overall level of society. It makes people happier as well. They understand the government is implementing laws and why they're doing it. So I think that's also very, very important.
All right. Thank you so much for the three of you for your input and insights. Appreciate it.